Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 1, Episode 10, the Season 1 finale of Peacock's The Day of the Jackal. Yes, it has been renewed for a second season, so if there were some questions that you might have had at the end of this episode, rest assured you may not, but you may get some answers in Season 2. So, quite a journey that we went on, wasn't it? I've had my ups and downs with this show. I've been hard on it at times, and other times I've acknowledged some really strong work. By and large, I'd say that this finale worked. Stuck the landing is a bit more praise than I'm looking to bestow, but it did what it needed to do. We got a lot of the resolutions and answers we needed, and the episode left some things open for Season 2, which we're going to discuss a little bit later. It didn't have any particularly standout scenes to me. Nothing as good as like the flashbacks from episode 8 or the final scenes in the water with UDC in episode 9. And it also had a couple of dumb moments, though nothing absurdly stupid like some of the stuff that I talked about earlier in the season. So basically, it kind of was like a collection of everything that worked this season, but trimming off the exceptionally bad, but also trimming off the exceptionally good. Yeah, I'd say that the show was strong. It won't make my top 10, but it'll get an honorable mention, as well as it'll get my eyeballs for the second season. The cast and story I thought were really solid. The cast was great. Execution, it was a bit murky for me at times, and that does give me some concerns for Season 2. But like I said, we'll talk about Season 2 in a little bit. Let's get to talk about what happened in this finale. Hey everybody, I just want to take a small break from this review to talk about the various other ways you can engage with me on other platforms. If you're so inclined, and I understand why you wouldn't, I am an acquired taste, but you can join the Patreon where you can get extra content like retro reviews, where I review old shows and movies to see if they still hold up today, Mike's Musings, where I talk about shows I'm watching that I don't cover on the channel, or Mike's VOD, where you can commission me to watch a show, which I will then review on the channel. And if you want to engage with me and chat with me more directly, I also implore you to join the Discord and follow the Facebook page. I set up channels in the Discord for all of us to discuss the shows I'm reviewing on the channel, and I also drop new videos in there since it's the easiest platform for me to share to from my phone. The Facebook can be really fun because I sort of live comment on shows I'm watching, often while under the influence, I'm not going to lie. And I'll also share news there, both about television and film and about myself as well. So if you like my content, you want to be more engaged, you think I'm charming, or you simply want to show support, feel free to sign up for the Patreon or join the Discord or Facebook today. Links to all platforms are in every video description. Remember to share all my shit to your respective social media platforms. And now back to this review. And I want to start by addressing something I've been talking about all season and that I said would make or break this show for me, and that's the identity of the mole. Thankfully, there was an OC, it looks like. And I gotta say, that was a huge weight off of my shoulders. A show that was otherwise as good as this one would have been ruined for me if it had fucked up something like that so badly. But no, we learned that it was Isabel and that she seemed to be in cahoots with the foreign secretary. And if you recall earlier in the season, Isabel and Bianca went to meet with the foreign secretary to convince him to give them the file on Dougen. Then when they got it, you remember they had to sign the NDAs. They couldn't leave the room. They had to read it right there in front of OC. And then it basically just confirmed the story that they've been being told about Dougen the whole time anyway. And I think we can now assume that the foreign secretary likely doctored that file or just gave them a fake one altogether. Also, in retrospect, I kind of like the scene where all of this is revealed a bit more than I liked it at the time while I was watching it. Like, watching it at the time, Isabel is reiterating to Bianca that the case is closed, and Bianca ultimately ends up just quitting her job altogether. And then she leaves, and then Isabel smiles a little bit. At least it looked like a smile to me. And I'm like, what the fuck is that all about? Like, is she happy that Bianca quit because she's like out of the way and out of her hair? Or is she like proud of Bianca for like standing up for what she believed in? Like, I don't know what that smile means. And I think we're now to understand that it was kind of like a smile of relief, because she's probably thinking like, finally, I've got Bianca out of my hair and she's no longer looking into this. But then the foreign secretary comes in and he's basically like, Bianca's a liability and we need to handle that. And, let her get Jackal and then we take care of her. Boom, everything's done. So I liked how what seemed like a smile that I couldn't really interpret turned into one that, once I could interpret it, I could now interpret her disappointment as well in the instruction that she's getting from the foreign secretary. I didn't particularly care who the mole was specifically. I just didn't want it to be OC. But now that it's all said and done, I think they did it the right way for the most part. You know, they wanted us to see the clues that it might be OC and to suspect him, and then it didn't end up being him. And like I said this in the last video, like they've leaned so far into it that I don't believe it's him anymore anyway. Like I drew back my assessment, but you know, it didn't end up being him, and I'm glad it wasn't him. Let's see. So I mentioned up top that they didn't have any scenes that really like wowed me in the finale, but I thought the opening car chase was pretty solid. The location gave for some unique moments and visuals that you don't often see in car chases, and I appreciated that. Particularly like the sharp changes in direction, like when he had to do like that complete 180 turn to go like back in the opposite direction up a hill, or like when he had to make that sharp turn to avoid the spike strips. So I thought that was pretty good. I was, however, a little unsatisfied with skipping over the transition from episode 9 to 10. Like when episode 9 ends, he's on a boat leaving the UDC murder, being chased by somebody. I think, wasn't there even like a helicopter or a drone or something like that up top follow him? And then we open this one and he's already driving. And that really felt like, you know, we don't want to have to come up with an explanation for how he got out of this situation. So let's just skip that altogether. And I wouldn't have said that it felt that way if it wasn't for the fact that the episode itself kind of ended in similar fashion. Like he's trying to speed after Nuria and it looks like a car is chasing him and then he gets T-boned by an entirely different car. Then the next scene, we time jump and he's like, seemingly he's okay and he's meeting with Xena in London, and that felt like, you know, we'll explain what happened there once we write it. Like they don't really have an explanation for what that was just yet. They just kind of like set it up and we're like, we'll figure that out when we start writing season 2. Like they created a problem for themselves to solve in the writer's room for next season. And strategically, like I guess I don't mind that. They've set up, you know, revenge against Tywin Lannister for trying to take me out as like a strong season 2 subplot. And they did that sufficiently, I think. It just made that ending like not feel great in the moment. Like they sacrificed a better ending to create mystery for next season. And that just kind of sucked in the moment, at least for me anyway. Back to the car chase. A kid runs out in front of Dougen's car, causing him to crash. And we just begin this sequence of scenes that show us how Dougen gets across the border and on a flight to Spain, despite everybody being after him. First off, he kills this guy who saved him from his burning car and then left in that guy's truck and then later destroys it. But secondly, the car exploded right after Dougen was safely out of it. And like, just on God, if you write that in a script, what the fuck? Like, I feel like you need to be fired. Like I've said this on the channel so many times, but like, how do you like fix your pen or your keyboard to write some cliche shit that's been done 8.3 million times before? Like, did this entirely unimaginative person who wrote this think that they crushed it after they hit the period on that sentence? Like, and the car explodes just as Dougen is safely pulled away. Like, if I wrote that sentence in a script myself, my next thought would be, maybe screenwriting ain't for me because I just copied off 8 million other motherfuckers' papers. So, I mean, hey, maybe that's just me. I don't know. It's obviously just me. So Dougen then approaches an old couple in an RV and convinces them to drive him to a hospital that he says is about 15 minutes away. After 30 minutes, and the guy's like, yo, what the fuck? Where's the hospital? Dougen's like, actually, we're going to go to the border, and that's an additional 78 minutes away. Like, fuck, this is supposed to be 15 minutes, and now it's 2 hours? Nearly 2 hours, but Dougen promises he's not going to harm them. They pull over. They have a smoke together. Everything's all good. He just wants to get to the border. Then the woman of the couple literally and figuratively stabs him in the back. And again, like, I bet that writer was really proud of themselves for writing that. And I don't think that they should be. That was corny to me. And Dougen is now forced to kill the both of them, and he's not happy about it. Like, I hope as that old man and that old lady, as their souls float up to heaven, I hope that the husband's soul tells the wife's soul that that's what she gets for always thinking that she knows what's best, because what the fuck, man? So Dougen eventually crosses the border on a tour bus and he makes his way to Spain. In the meantime, Xena, she also quickly learns that she too is considered a loose end by Tywin Lannister, and she slips away from a guy that was sent to kill her under the guise of offering her a new op. So Dougen arrives home in Spain, and Bianca and Vince, they're there waiting for him. Don't worry, I'm going to talk about Bianca in a bit. They saw Nuria leave with the son. What was his name? Carlos or Carlito or some shit? Whatever. Doesn't matter. They see him leave with the kid, her leave with the kid. And Bianca correctly deduces that Nuria is leaving Dougen rather than going to him. So they stay put. Dougen arrives. He's searching the home for his wife and son. And as Bianca and Vince move in, Alvaro just randomly shows up and gets himself killed. And it's like, it's not random because Alvaro doesn't like belong there or anything like that. It was just that like we had already had kind of a lot of scenes there at the house before that. And at no point was it established that Alvaro was there. And even after Dougen arrives, like there's no indication that Alvaro is already at the house. So when Alvaro just stumbles out, my immediate reaction was like, he was there the whole time. And like, that's the kind of mistakes that great shows don't make. Like they don't miss things that are going to take you out of the episode like a cold splash of water to the face like that. Like now I'm watching this and I'm remembering that I'm watching a TV show that had Alvaro just pop up out of nowhere rather than being engrossed in what they're doing at the time. And that was an intense scene. I should have been like completely just enveloped in that world. So to have Alvaro just pop up like that, it just took me out of it. And like I said, great shows don't do that. So once Alvaro is shot, Dougen hears it from his little secret hidey hole and he cuts the power. And there's a great shot of them on opposite sides of the mirror that we saw an almost identical shot of on the bear earlier this year. But hey, great shot's a great shot. Especially given how Dougen is lit in red and Bianca's like in this like almost like nightimey kind of bluish kind of color. And I feel like that's a debatable color scheme because that's framed as like good versus bad. Bianca should at least get like just a different shade of red, like a nice crimson or something like that. She's not blue or purple or nothing like that. She's still red too. But ultimately, Dougen takes out both Vince and Bianca, and honestly, it felt almost as anticlimactic as how I just described it. Yeah, I was hoping for more of a showdown between Bianca and Dougen, and we just got a couple of quick sentences and then the gunshots. And, a bit of a letdown given that she was chasing him all season, so it felt like we were building up to that. But, hey, that's just how it goes down in real life sometimes, I guess. After this is when Dougen gets hit by the car that I mentioned earlier after chasing after Nuria. And now I think it would be a good time to transition to talking about Bianca. And I mentioned earlier that Bianca quit after Isabel said that they weren't going to reopen the case. Well, after that, she goes home and continues to lie to her family. like for no reason. Like you quit, right? Like it doesn't matter why. You quit. You ain't there no more. Tell them the truth of why you quit. But no. Just as the show established with her and her daughter early in the season, Bianca gonna lie just because she just likes to lie. And she's like, yeah, I quit because I thought about what you said and I chose family. Like, man, shut your lying ass up. You quit to prove a point to your boss. Like, you quit because she wouldn't allow you to ignore your family even further. Like, fuck out of here, Bianca. Like, I chose my family. But then Isabel shows up at her house after, the foreign secretary told her to go allow Bianca to go after Dougen. And the husband's like, see, I already knew this was some bullshit. You just go ahead. And Bianca's like, well, I told her no. He's like, well, I don't know why the fuck you lied to her because you go say yes eventually. So you might as well just say it now and save everybody the trouble. And Bianca's like, well, if I did go, and we're all like, see, we knew he was going to leave. Just go ahead. Just go ahead. And now she's dead. And that's what she gets. but let's talk about the parallel this show has been doing all season between Bianca and Dougen, at least as it pertains to like how they interact with their families. All season, they've both been doing the same shit to their family, lying about what they're doing so they can selfishly keep doing it and continue to be absent. But I think there is some authenticity in Dougen's desire to stop doing what he's doing and to be with his family. And Dougen also just so happens to still be alive. Bianca is too tied to the job, too willing to do terrible things that she doesn't even have to do just for the job. She continues to lie to her family about that fact. She goes back into the field after telling her family she quit altogether. And now, unlike Dougen, she's dead. So I think the lesson here is if you lie to your family, you should at least be genuine about trying to make it right. But now I want to do a couple of quick notes before I discuss what they're setting up for season 2, and then we'll be out of here. So UDC's manager boyfriend, he postpones River. I don't know if that's going to come back around in season 2 or if we're done with River, but that's what happened. The manager didn't keep it going like he was asked. Also, I thought it was weird that Nuria was not that she was mad at Alvaro for being arrested, but just like the degree to which she was mad. Like, he got arrested because he was in a wrong place at the wrong time. Like, yes, he was with a gangster, and yes, theoretically that could put the family in danger, but he's trying to set up a business deal. That's some awfully self-righteous behavior for somebody whose husband is an international assassin. Like, she's like calling him all kinds of names and shit, and I'm like, yo, he was just there. Like, I don't know. She didn't go that hard on Dougen for actually like outright killing people for money as she went on her brother for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Anyway. Lastly, a bit strange. We didn't see much of Osi in this final episode. We never found out what happened when that guy asked him about the deleted text. We never found out what he said. But, I mean, that could be a season 2 thread. So let's talk about season 2 when we wrap up. Osi also seems to be onto the idea that Isabel is the mole and that she set Bianca up to die. Osi and someone else, I don't feel like it's going to be like that Damien guy, but they're going to have to introduce some new character. Trying to take down the corrupt Isabel and foreign minister feels like a pretty sure thing for a season 2 plot line. I'm sure there are going to be articles suggesting that Bianca is dead, but they made her look dead. Osi said she was dead. Like, everything treated her as dead. I'm going to say she's dead. The main plot, and I'm sure Dougen will be killing other numerous people along the way as well, but it's likely going to revolve around working with Xena to get revenge on Tywin Lannister for trying to take them out. That feels like that's probably going to be the main storyline. It could be like the B plot, and they have an entirely new thing for the A plot. We don't know who was sent after Dougen in those cars or how he escaped that situation. Xena even says something to the effect of like, how did you survive that? She seems to offer a team up to go after their mutual enemy, but Dougen says he has to take care of one other person first. Who is that? So like, I think the time gap between when he gets hit by the car and when he meets with Xena in London is going to be shown like in flashback form in season 2. And it's going to make up a lot of season 2 airtime. Here's my concern. I thought this show was solid, good, not great. It had its issues, but, B+ caliber show. But the best stuff from this season was learning Dougen's backstory. Who he is, where he came from, seeing his time with the military. Who is this, basically learning who is this Charles guy that Nuria is married to. Now we don't have that. Like, solving the mystery of who Dougen was has been a big part of this season and the best part of this season. And you don't have that for season 2. That means the actual story itself is going to have to be superbly written. And like I said, these are people who think that blowing up a car just as someone has safely escaped is like a good thing to do. Like, that's original. So I have to question some of the writing decisions that have been made here, which gives me concern for a second season that's going to rely heavily on a superbly written story, since they won't be able to rely on kind of like filling in that backstory. So, that's a big concern. Like if you remove all the scenes where we learn about Dougen's past, you might not have a shitty show, but you have a show that's closer to shitty than it is to good. Whereas right now it's good. I'm concerned about the writer's ability to write a season 2 story that's captivating when they can't lean on the mystery of Dougen's past. But I guess we'll see. What did you guys think of this episode? What did you guys think of this season? I mean, I've been hearing great things. I haven't done too much reading on it, but I've been seeing people who are like, yeah, this is a really good show. It's been being talked about. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And until next season, peace.